Hi guys, look for here and welcome to the first episode of the Football Weekly podcast. Very excited to bring you guys this video. This has been in the works now for like a few weeks, I want to say. It's been on my mind. I've been wanting to start something like this off now for quite a while. And for those of you that didn't know, I did put out a post on the community section of my YouTube channel earlier on this week, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and quite a few hundred of you guys, maybe 200 or 300, entered into the poll. And the majority of you guys, I think it was 70% or something like that, said that you guys did want to see me run at least a pilot episode of this podcast. So I am actually joined as well by one of my subscribers for this video. I'm going to be bringing in, hopefully, if I do more of these videos, I'm going to try and bring in a YouTuber every video or a subscriber. And obviously, we'll talk through certain stuff. Obviously, it's going on football. Obviously, in this case, we're going to be talking about the Nations League today and stuff like that. And so would you like to say hi, Aiden?
What up? How's everyone doing?
So Aiden's obviously one of my subscribers. How long have you been subscribed for? Do you know?
I'd probably say around 4 to 5 months, something
4 to 5 months, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've also got a YouTube channel of your own. It's called Poncho. I'll leave a link to it actually in the description, stuff like that, because you make YouTube videos on FIFA and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, every once in a while I'll upload a video.
We've got quite a few things to cover in this first video. Obviously, a lot of the ongoing things about football now. Obviously, we've had a lot of the club football for the year. A lot of the last club football was the Europa League final and the Champions League final. Chelsea beating Arsenal and Liverpool beating Spurs. I just had to throw in something about Liverpool there because I'm still so happy about that. So, but focusing a lot more now on the international football. We've got the Euro qualifiers that have restarted up again this weekend. I believe Croatia won today as well against Wales, and I think Iceland beat someone as well. And also we've had the FIFA Women's World Cup starting last night as well. But we want to mainly be focusing on the Nations League, which of course did hold its semi-finals midweek. We're going to be covering what happens in those two games, and then looking ahead towards the third place playoff as well as the final. We're going to also look at a lot of the general transfer news that we've already had in the past few weeks and potential other rumors of transfers that could happen. And then we're also going to be focusing on Real Madrid in this video as the kind of club feature, because obviously every person that I want to bring onto the video, I want them to be associated to a certain club. And in this case, Aiden is sort of a Real Madrid fan, would you say?
Yeah. So basically, I'd say I'm still a new football fan. I'm trying to learn and stuff. I became a fan in 2013, but throughout the years, with the games that I can catch, I have to say I like Madrid the most.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of exciting transfer news, as you guys know.
Obviously, and a lot of it's been breaking this week, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But first of all, let's focus on the Nations League. I want to first of all focus on the Portugal-Switzerland game. Cristiano Ronaldo, yet again, at 34 years of age, still doing just insane stuff. A hat-trick against them.
Vintage Ronaldo, bro.
Yeah. Just insane. I mean, what did you... I actually didn't get to really catch much of that game. I was busy making a YouTube video, but I heard he was just phenomenal. I don't know. Did you get to see any of it? Or
I watched the highlights, and I mean, Ronaldo does what Ronaldo does, bro.
Exactly.
It's so crazy. He scored a free kick too. I mean, I just have so much respect for him as a player. Literally, hardest work, bro.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's someone that's really, we always talk about the Messi Ronaldo debate. So we're not going to really get into that in this video, in this podcast, maybe in another one down the line. But, he's someone that is, when he came from Sporting over to Manchester United, and he was he always had that raw talent, but he was never the final, finished product. And then obviously, as he's gone throughout his time at Manchester United, gone on to Real Madrid, and then obviously now at Juventus, he just seems to get almost better and better each year. So just insane by him, isn't it, really? And you just wonder as well, is he ever going to stop just being Ronaldo? I can't imagine football without him, to be quite honest.
I know. For sure. Nah, that's going to be crazy. And what's so interesting about his story is that transition he had. Because he's literally said it in interviews. I'm paraphrasing. But basically, he said skilling is one thing, but I realized scoring goals is better, right? So then he just transitioned to a monster, bro, a goal scoring monster. So
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
his story is just absolutely crazy. And yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite players and clearly just top player of all time.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. And, we do have to obviously move on, unfortunately, to England. They played on the Thursday night against the Netherlands. I actually also put out a poll on my community page asking who I thought, or I was asking you guys, who do you think is going to win the Nations League? And the majority, actually quite a few, I want to say about maybe 40%, roughly, maybe, I don't know, I might be getting those figures wrong, were back in the Netherlands to go and win the whole of the Nations League. Obviously, I did the poll before the semi-finals were played. But I actually really fancied England against the Netherlands. I don't know what it was. I look at the Netherlands team and I think it's decent, but I think when I look at their strikers and stuff like that, they got, Memphis Depay, who completely failed at Manchester United, I think it's fair to say, was fantastic at PSV, has gone to Lyon now, and I think he's there permanently at Lyon, and to be fair, had a really awesome season in the French league, but I didn't think he was going to be that much of a problem, and I don't think he didn't score any of the goals, but he certainly did cause England a lot of problems, but England's just fell apart with two awful defensive errors from Ross Barkley and John Stones in extra time. And it started so well for England as well with the penalty from Rashford. And then it fell apart after that when De Ligt scored from a corner. And then Jesse Lingard had an offside goal. VAR ruled that out. But England, again, we saw it in the World Cup. They let themselves down in the semi-finals against Croatia. They've let themselves down again against the Netherlands. How can they just stop going out before the final? Like, what do they have to do to fix it?
You're talking about England, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
yes.
You were lagging a little bit, bro.
That's all right, man.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, the defense is a big issue, man. Like, clearly, the two defenders, I don't know, man. Something not right with them, bro. Like, and then you look at Netherlands. Van Dijk's just unbelievable. I think he wins the Ballon d'Or. If Messi's not going to win it, he wins the Ballon d'Or. So
yeah.
But I mean, their attack, like England, they have so many solid players. Kane, Rashford,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I don't know if you got to catch any of the game, but Gareth Southgate seems to want to try and adopt a style
the
where
beginning. I saw the penalty, and then after I caught up on the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, it was a pretty dreadful game, to be quite honest, by the most part, unless you were a neutral fan where it got pretty interesting at extra time. But I
didn't catch Southgate's extra time, sadly.
Yeah.
But just the highlights.
Yeah. Gareth Southgate's trying to adopt this style at the moment, basically, where we see teams like Manchester City, we see teams like Liverpool, and also to a degree Barcelona, where they like to play the ball at the back from the goalkeeper. And City do it brilliantly. Barcelona do it to a relatively decent style. Liverpool just about can get away with playing the ball up from the back. I'm talking from a goalkeeper position when it's a goal kick and stuff. Instead of just hoofing the ball up the field, they try to play a smart pass out to the defender. And England are trying to do that with Jordan Pickford, trying to give it to Stones, and then Stones doesn't know what to do because he's under pressure. And it was just, and I also thought Gareth Southgate's team selection was very poor as well at the same time. We just had the Champions League final a week ago, and the players who played for Liverpool had previously not even played for 3 weeks. Now, Gareth Southgate thought it would be okay. Well, they just played in the Champions League final, so I'm not going to start Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'm not going to start Jordan Henderson, and instead play different players, despite those two players playing in the Champions League final. Yet Koeman, the Netherlands manager, decided to start Van Dijk and Wijnaldum. So again, Southgate's just very poor decision making, thinking that the Liverpool players that played in that final weren't ready. Also, Harry Kane didn't play either, but when he came on, he, as expected, didn't really do anything. But
what a surprise!
Yeah, honestly, just terrible. In the end by England. I mean, It was so unlucky the offsides as well, because obviously VAR rules it and it's part of the game and stuff like that now, and it was right to rule it out and stuff exactly. Yep. But it was so tight, the margins, and I think if Lingard had just been a little bit more behind the ball and he'd been onside, then I think England would be sitting here right now going into the final and not into the third place playoff. But let's quickly look to that final tomorrow. We're not going to talk about the third place playoff because literally it's a pointless game. Pretty much shouldn't really even be playing it between England and Switzerland. But the final tomorrow, Who are you backing, Portugal or the Netherlands?
Um, I'm gonna say Portugal, man.
Okay,
I'm gonna say
why would you say
Portugal.
Portugal?
Ronaldo is just literally like unstoppable, bro.
Yeah.
So, and him under pressure, bro. This is where he thrives, you know.
Mm.
On like a final type stage. So we're gonna see. But I'm interested to see like what Van Dijk does, versus Portugal. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
I
gonna be
mean,
pretty interesting.
obviously Portugal, we do see that performance from Ronaldo, but at the same time, you got to remember this is a Portugal team that's actually going to be even more on the rise. You got Bruno Fernandes who's coming through even stronger as well.
Mm-hmm.
At Sporting, you've got João Felix as well, who's interestingly being linked with a move to Manchester City. We'll talk about that a little bit
Guedes
later
is
on as
pretty young
well.
too, right?
But yeah, he's only like 19, João Felix. And Bruno
No,
Fernandes
I
is
said
like 24.
Guedes.
Who?
Guedes.
Oh,
You know
Guedes.
Guedes?
Guedes from
Yeah.
Valencia. Yeah. He's also very good as well. So in terms of
I haven't
attacking
seen
wise,
much of João Felix, but
I
he's
saw a
got a
bit
lot
of
of
him.
hype around him.
Oh, definitely. He scored like 25 goals or something. He's a teenager still
Oh
with
wow,
Benfica. Yeah.
unbelievable.
Um,
Yeah, he
absolutely
is like
destroyed
19 or whatever.
Frankfurt as well in the semi-final. Like in the first semi-final, like he scored a hat-trick against Frankfurt. Obviously, they went out in the second leg, but he really ran the show for Benfica this season. So
That's crazy.
he's a very exciting
Is
player.
he linked
He's
to
been
any?
actually,
Is he linked to any teams? Like,
yeah, Manchester City.
oh, for real?
Obviously,
That's
yeah.
gonna be cool.
Though he'd be linked with no one else, would he? Let's be honest. Manchester City just
Yeah,
want to buy everyone. So,
literally.
but that is only obviously gossip and stuff like that at the moment. There's no confirmed reports of that. But yes, that's pretty much it then for the Nations League. I mean, personally, myself, I think. I don't know. I mean, if you look at Van Dijk and you think, yeah, Ronaldo's fantastic, but Van Dijk is the best defender in the world and stuff like that at the moment. There's no question about that. I think, I think Portugal will win. I think they've overall got probably a better team on the whole than the Netherlands. I think the Netherlands' defense on the whole is probably better, but Portugal's attack is fantastic.
I
You got,
agree.
the Guedes, the João Felix, you got Ruben Neves, you've got obviously CR7, you got Bruno Fernandes, you've got Danilo Pereira, you got William Carvalho of Real Betis. You've got a really good goalkeeper in Rui Patricio. A relatively solid defense as well, Pepe. I know he's in I know he got called up to the squad. I don't know if he's actually playing, but it is a fantastic Portugal team, and I'm hoping that whether CR7 will be around for the next World Cup, probably not. But he probably will be for the next European Championships, maybe just. And it'll be interesting to see if Portugal can try and retain the European Championships. But obviously, they'll be looking to try and win the Nations League this weekend. So, yeah, that's going to finish the Nations League. Let's move on to Real Madrid. Now, a lot of news has broken actually in the past 24 hours regarding Eden Hazard. But first of all, I want to focus on two other players that are going to be coming to Real Madrid this season, this upcoming season, in Eder Militao from Porto and Luka Jovic from Frankfurt. Now, these deals will obviously be confirmed on the 1st of July once the transfer window fully opens. I believe both of those deals are subject to a medical, but the chances are both those medicals will be passed. It's very rare, obviously, medicals ever failed. But we talk about Real Madrid. They've had a very poor season. They went out to Ajax in the Champions League. They finished third in the Liga, considerably behind Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, who, to be quite honest, weren't fantastic either throughout the whole season.
Something like that.
It was quite far. And they're trying to, they have to rebuild this team. It's an aging team. Ramos is getting older. Marcelo's getting older. Bale wasn't great. Benzema's been, I'd say, average. I mean, obviously, you watch probably Real Madrid more than I do. But would you say, I mean, obviously, you don't live in Madrid, so you can't get, I can't get the exact opinions of, what all the Spaniards are. But as a Madrid sort of fan, we talk about the Galacticos, we talk about, Roberto Carlos, R9, and players like that have come through. Would you class Eder Militao and Luka Jovic as new Galacticos, or just simply just new signings to Real Madrid?
What do you mean by new signings exactly?
By new signings, just I mean, just the decent players, but I mean, like when I mean like a Galactica, I'm talking like world class, like the
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
best Figo and stuff like that. Would you basically say that Eder Militao and Luka Jovic are world class yet? Would they be right to call Galacticos, or are they just right to be called signings that have got potential to be world class
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
future?
The sky's the limit. They're both 21 years old. You know?
Yeah.
Like they got a long ways to go. And Militao looks like a great defender, very aggressive, fast. He's fast, very fast.
He is.
I
Yeah.
heard he's gonna play like right back or something. So
Right. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
he's gonna be perfect there. So yeah, from the clips that I've seen, it seems like he could go forward. You know that Madrid, their style is to push up with their fullbacks. You know,
Yeah.
so I think he's going to be sound attacking. And then Jovic, like unbelievable finisher, great dribbler, uh, pretty strong. He's pretty strong. I think he's like, how tall is he? Like 5'11" or something.
Honestly, man, I don't know to be
You don't know.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks pretty strong. So and yeah, I mean he scored some unbelievable goals. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's gonna obviously the sky's the limit with him. Hopefully he's at Madrid for a minute. And yeah.
So obviously, with Luka Jovic coming, it's in a fee that is going to go over around 50 million if the medical all goes to plan. So Real Madrid's two main sorts of strikers at the moment, if you want to call them that, are Mariano and Karim Benzema. Now, obviously, Mariano's a pretty young forward. Was out on loan at Lyon, I believe, a couple of seasons ago and did well for them. He came back this season, didn't set the world alight at all. Karim Benzema has got a team of the season card in FIFA. Now, I don't know if he's been amazing actually IRL this season, but with Jovic now at the club, what do Real Madrid do? Do they just start one striker in Jovic? Do they let maybe, Mariano go on loan? Do they try and start two players, have Benzema or Mariano up front with Jovic? Or do they go out and buy another striker to go with Luka Jovic? Or do they just keep Jovic as the only striker now?
Reading on Reddit, I think that it's gonna be Jovic and Benzema as like sort of strikers, but
Okay.
at the same time, what about Vinicius? He's proved himself. I think he's a very solid player, and he's still obviously very young. So who
definitely
knows? I don't really know, but I'm sure Zidane's gonna figure something out.
And that's the thing I also want to get onto with Real Madrid as well. We had at the start of the season a lot of drama around Madrid. Obviously, I think it was maybe just before the eve of the World Cup from last year, it was announced that Lopetegui would become the Real Madrid manager. Obviously, after the World Cup with Spain, then Spain all of a sudden decided to sack Lopetegui right before the World Cup, and he was replaced with Fernando Hierro. And then obviously Lopetegui started the season with Real Madrid. Didn't go very well at all. They brought in one of the youth coaches or something. I can't remember his name, to be honest now. He ended up going after Ajax smacked Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. And then obviously Zidane kind of has come back in. Obviously he did do very well at Real Madrid. I don't think, although please let me know, I don't think he won a La Liga title, but obviously he did win 3 Champions Leagues consecutively, which is fantastic. I don't think there's any manager that's ever been able to do that before.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But do you think, because when Zidane came back towards the end of the season, Real Madrid didn't really improve necessarily. Now, do you think for the start of next season, it's right to keep Zidane? Or would you even maybe be looking at someone like Pochettino, or would you say Zidane's fine?
No, keep Zidane, 100%. And then
Why
he's going to build with...
Zidane?
Well, I mean, clearly 3 Champions Leagues, right? For 1. For 2, look at all the new signings, So I'm sure he's going to build like a fantastic team. And yeah, so that's pretty much why.
Okay. So in terms of obviously the biggest news on Real Madrid, which I've kind of been saving for, is that I only just got up this morning to actually find this news out that Eden Hazard is going to be joining Real Madrid for around a fee that could go over 150 million. How do you feel about that?
I mean, low-key been the best Premier League, best player in the Prem for...
What about Salah?
That's a good point, yeah, but obviously he had a really good season, yeah.
Yeah.
But, Hazard, bro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player.
Oh, he is.
Insane dribbler. He's a quick dribbler too. He's fast.
Mm.
And like you get Messi who's like more poised, but Hazard's like pretty unpredictable. Like Messi, you know what he's gonna do, but you just can't stop him, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm so excited for that. I mean, he belongs here, man. The Prem's gonna miss him though. But
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, man. That's
So
super exciting.
would you definitely class him then as like as a new Galactico? Would you say he's on the same level as when, like, for example, Figo left Barcelona to join Real Madrid? Would you definitely say he was a new big signing for Real Madrid, like a big Galactico?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
I mean, he was obviously voted into. Was he voted into
You got
the
to
team
see
this
how
season
he.
for the Premier League?
I'm sorry.
Was he voted into the team this season? Well, I know in FIFA he got a team this season, couple. I can't remember if the Premier League actually gave him a
I
team of
could
the
check.
season. I'm pretty sure they did. But he's obviously had a phenomenal season. Obviously, the player of the season for the Premier League was given to Van Dijk. But Eden Hazard has obviously had a tremendous season still. And I think definitely that 150 million, it's obviously a lot of money, which is going to be very useful to Chelsea if they can spend that. Because of obviously the potential transfer ban. But he will obviously be a great signing for Real Madrid next season. There's no doubt about that. But
He actually didn't get voted in, by the way.
he didn't get voted in.
No.
Yeah, I had the feeling that he didn't get voted in, which I think's terrible, to
I'd
be
say
quite
that's
honest,
fair.
because he should be there. Who's there?
We had Mane, Sergio Aguero, Sterling, Pogba. Interesting.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Fernandinho,
Yeah.
Silva, Robertson, Laporte, Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Ederson.
Well, I agree with all those apart from Pogba. I mean, he obviously had a good part. He had a good when Solskjaer came in. He did well for like a couple months, but then apart from that, I don't know why he's been given why the Premier League threw him in there. But
pretty ridiculous, in my opinion.
It definitely is. But
dude, I don't know about that.
For next season, for Real Madrid, in terms of the attack, we don't know if there's anyone that's going to be going out the door. I'm sure there's going to be people that will go from Real Madrid, but we think of their attack. They've got so many good players now that are currently at the club. They've got Isco, they've got Asensio, they've got obviously now it'll be Eden Hazard, Luka Jovic, they've got Vinicius Jr., they've got Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema still at the club as well. How is the attack going to play out for the next season? Because they've got so many world-class players that they're not going to be able to keep all of them happy. Some are going to have to stay on the bench. Or do you think some of those players, for example, like Gareth Bale, will move on for next season?
Bale's probably going to move on because with Zidane, he's not going to play much, most likely. Yeah, I don't know. But what a squad we're going to have. Like, sheesh, man.
And there could be more signings to come as well.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? I don't know about Eriksen, though. That was speculated.
Yes,
that'd be pretty cool if we got
yeah.
Eriksen. Very good player.
Definitely. Obviously, Eriksen, for those of you that don't know, I was reading it on the BBC Sports section earlier on the week. He was mentioning, obviously, that he feels he might like to have a bit of a different challenge now, and he feels like he's got to the maximum at Tottenham, which, I think is fair because he's been a good player for them for a number of seasons now since he came from Ajax. And I think if there's two clubs, in my opinion, that I can see him going to, it will probably be Barcelona or Real Madrid.
I heard someone said something about Inter or something like that.
Inter Milan as well. Yeah, I mean, Inter Milan have obviously just got Antonio Conte at the same time. Diego Godin's heading to Inter Milan. So they've got an exciting project going along as well.
Oh, Godin's heading there?
He is, yeah.
I didn't know. Wow.
For free, I think. I'm pretty sure it's for free because his contract's going up. So I'm pretty sure he's heading there anyway. I'm sure he's definitely not at Atletico Madrid next season. That's what I do know. But that's pretty much everything that we've got to cover for Real Madrid. I just want to say for next season, with the players that they've already brought in so far, obviously between Militao, Jovic, and Eden Hazard, that is around 250 million already, and the transfer window is not even officially opened. So who knows who else could be brought in along the way. I'm guessing Real will sign at least one or two other players along the way this season. Obviously, potentially Keylor Navas could leave the club and stuff like that as well. But what as a Real Madrid fan, what are you expecting minimum from next season? Are you expecting instant success? Would you like to see a La Liga title?
You
What do
just
you think
lagged, my
is going to
guy.
happen?
Okay. No, I got you. You were lagging, but
Oh, okay, sorry.
so I could see us winning the league, definitely. Um,
You
and then
think?
we're gonna obviously be a Champions League contender. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
looking
Real
at it
Madrid
on
always
paper.
are, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, looking at it on paper. So yeah, we're gonna see.
Okay, so that pretty much then finishes off everything with Real Madrid. Into just some like general transfer news now. Obviously, in terms of like some gossip, I'm sure you've got like a few things that might be wrote down as well. But I do want to go back to before we mentioned about João Felix potentially. Man City are interested in signing him for just over £100 million for like a
Wow.
19-year-old. Is that a bit silly? You know, because he's only playing in the
How
Port.
much was
No offense to
Vinicius
the
Junior
Portuguese
signed
league.
for? Do you know?
Well, sorry.
I said how much was Vinicius Junior signed for? Do you
Um.
know?
Oh, I think it was around maybe 70 million. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, 100 million, man. Hopefully, I don't know, bro. That's a lot of money, man, and a lot of pressure.
It is. I
But
mean,
who knows, bro? Who knows?
yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
for me as a teenager, 100 million would just be a bit of a. I mean, he might be fantastic and stuff like that, but we haven't seen him do anything properly yet for Portugal and stuff. Obviously, we've seen him do well in the Europa League and in the Liga NOS with Benfica, but there's a massive difference between playing in the Europa League and playing in the Portuguese league. Despite it being a decent league, it's obviously not a major league, but it would be a big. I mean, City got money to lots of money to spend and stuff like that. So they're happy to kind of go and buy him. But obviously, it's just general gossip, though, at the moment, obviously, with that deal. I think Liverpool have again been linked, though, moving on to them now. With a deal to potentially try and sign Nabil Fekir again. They tried to sign him last season, but I believe he failed a medical, and I'm hearing that the Liverpool might be
Oh,
going back in for him again, which is a bit weird considering he's already failed a medical. But that's again just general gossip and stuff like that. Have you got any transfer gossip news?
I just had the Madrid stuff. Yeah, that's all I really have right
Okay.
now. Sorry about
Um,
that.
no, I've still got some other things though as well.
Okay,
Obviously, we
cool.
talked a bit before about Gareth Bale
Yeah,
being
yeah.
linked with a move away from Real Madrid. There was talk of him maybe going back to Tottenham Hotspur, maybe going to Manchester United. Where do you think would be best for him? Do you think he's best going back to his old club in Tottenham? First of all, obviously his wages are absolutely insane. So it'll be interesting to see who would be even able to really afford the wages. You think of maybe the top clubs in the world. You think of the clubs who are going to be able to pay. I don't know how much his wages are, but they're going to be. I'd say minimum £250,000 a week, maybe even more than that. So you think there's very few teams that can afford that. There's obviously Manchester City. Do they need to sign them? Probably not, because they've already got the likes of Bernardo Silva, Leroy Sane, Riyad Mahrez. So I think they're well fine. I don't think Bayer would be
Yep.
the best addition for them. But Manchester United, though, there's been talk that I'm sure they would be able to just about maybe afford his wage bill. If they potentially lay
Yeah,
off
exactly.
Alexis Sanchez. Well, but they're in the Europa League. Do you think he'd be interested in a move to Manchester United? Do you think it'd be a good move for both him and Manchester United for Gareth Bale?
Um, yeah, I mean, he's got limited options, right? Considering he makes so much money.
Yeah.
So if he does go somewhere, it's probably United, realistically.
Mm, yeah.
Then he'll be back in England, so in the
Yeah. I
Prem.
mean, obviously,
I
it
could
would
see
be
that
good
happening.
to kind of see him back as well in the Premier League because we
Yeah,
only
that'd be cool.
saw a world-class Gareth Bale at Tottenham for about one season before he moved on to. Obviously, he was always improving, throughout his time. It was the same with Cristiano Ronaldo. We only really saw Ronaldo as being world-class in the Premier League with Manchester United for maybe 1 to 2 seasons maximum. So it'd be nice to kind of see Gareth Bale back. I personally don't want him at Manchester United because I can't stand them, and I hope that they really struggle again next season with Solskjaer, which I personally think they will struggle with him again, to be honest. But we're not going to focus that. We're not going to focus too much on that on this particular podcast. But I want to quickly move on to Arsenal as well. There's been a few things coming out there with them. There was talk that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who obviously won the Golden Boot, shared it with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, scoring 22 goals, all three of them this season. There's been talk that he has been linked with a move to China. Now, obviously, we know that the Chinese league, it's not a fantastic league overall, let's be honest. It's got a few decent players in it now, all because of the money that's being poured into the Chinese league and players on ridiculous amounts of money. If you were Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, obviously he is getting older. I think he's in his late 20s now. If you're sitting there and you're him right now, obviously he wants to be playing Champions League football, and he would have been playing Champions League football next season if Arsenal had beaten Chelsea in the Europa League final. But if you are Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang right now, and you've got the option to go to China to make more money, or you can stay at Arsenal and potentially fight to help your team get into the Champions League next season, because obviously China has nothing like the Europa League or the Champions League. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you stay at Arsenal, or would you go to China?
Definitely. Well, I don't know if I would necessarily stay at Arsenal, but I would at least want to compete. You know what I mean? You don't go to China till you're 35, something like that. Maybe a little young. It depends what type of player you are. So yeah, I would definitely want to compete. Hopefully it doesn't go to China. That would honestly suck.
It would. It definitely would. It'd be hard to link in because he's a very overpowered player this FIFA. So for everyone that plays for Champions and stuff like that, we wouldn't want him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, unless you have icons.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then the other news at Arsenal is Mesut Ozil. Now, this guy is on around £300,000 a week. He was playing in the Europa League final. I don't know if you saw any of this, but he started that game. Unai Emery ended up subbing him off, and I think Arsenal were getting beaten at the time. And Ozil, when a player walks off the pitch very slowly because maybe they're winning 1-0 and it's 5 minutes to go and they're just trying to waste time. Mesut Ozil saw that the substitution was coming, so he was coming off, and they're getting beat at this point. So obviously, typically, most footballers would just go and run off the pitch, try and get the other guy on as soon as possible.
You got to hustle.
The next goal. Yeah. And he didn't want to. He walked very slowly off the pitch. So clearly, the relationship between him and Unai Emery, and just clearly his time at Arsenal right now, doesn't seem to be very good. But is there anyone that would even pay those wages for Mesut Ozil? Because he could just happily just sit on the bench and make 300 grand a week. Or, is there any club that would even take him on? Because you can't necessarily say that he's a world-class player at the moment. He's a good player, but you can't say he's world-class. What do you think is going to happen with him?
Yeah, I got no idea, man. That's pretty disrespectful. Kind of crazy that he would do that. But at the same time, I'm not surprised. So I really don't know, man. Arsenal's just in pretty tricky situation. So yeah, I don't know. I saw something on Reddit about I don't know, could he be going to Spain or something like that?
Well, I mean, it could be a potential destination for him because obviously Arsenal did sign him from Real Madrid, obviously, where he really did kind of shine at a younger age and stuff like that. And that's when Arsenal paid a lot of money. And I think Arsenal were expecting probably better things from him. That's why they decided to pay such a high wage to him to try and keep him at the club and stuff like that. And now could potentially be backfiring him because I know if I was the owner of even Real Madrid and stuff like that, I don't know if I'd be happy to really pay for him because is he as good as as an Isco, for example? I wouldn't say he is personally. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes next season. But I do want to quickly go back though to La Liga. I know we're kind of shifting between quite a few leagues here and stuff like that. I do want to go back there. La Liga could be very interesting next season. Obviously by, yourself as a Real Madrid fan with all the new players that are going to Real Madrid, but also with the situations that are going to Barcelona and at Atletico. For next season for Atletico Madrid, we're not going to have Antoine Griezmann because he's probably going to be going to Barcelona, although that's not being
Aren't they investigating that or something?
I mean, he put a post out on his Instagram saying that he was leaving, but there has been something that's gone on between Atletico and Barcelona. I don't know exactly what it is, but
I think they were speaking to him before.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
there
was something like that. Yeah,
I'm just curious because I wonder how he's gonna fit in at Barca. Because I know his role for France, and I'm pretty sure Atletico is he's just a free roaming number 10, right?
Yeah.
So, but I know he played winger earlier in his career.
He did. He did at Real Sociedad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did. Yeah. That's exactly right. And
he's a legend, man. Such an unbelievable player.
I love his hair as well. I love his long hair. It's just amazing.
I hate his celebration though. Imagine doing that in a World Cup final. Yeah, I can't.
The one with like the phone things.
No, take the L.
Oh no, I hate the Fortnite celebration. I don't like that one as well.
Nah, man, that's wow.
I like the one where he's like his tongue out though, and he's doing like the thing of like his little finger and his thumb.
Like the hotline bling, the phone.
Yeah.
Decent celebration. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty goofy. But to take the L, man, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I think that's
tough,
I'm sure
bro.
that's a Fortnite or something. I think it's just he just looks a bit of an idiot when he does that. But overall, I do like Antoine Griezmann, and I think if he does go to Barcelona next season, which I think he will be, I think it's a fantastic signing for them. I think Barcelona are looking to try and replace Luis Suarez, who has been a fantastic servant to Barcelona over the past few seasons, winning multiple La Liga titles, Copa del Rey's, I think maybe one Champions League along the way as well. But obviously he is 31 or 32 now, so he's only probably got one more season at the top of his game, Suarez. So I think bringing Griezmann into that team would be very good. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But we're going back to Atletico Madrid. There's a lot of issues with them. Obviously, it looks like they're going to keep Diego Simeone. So not Diego Simeone. I can't even say his name properly. Yeah. They're going to be keeping him by the looks of it, and he's a top-class, world-class manager, obviously. But there's problems with the defense at Atletico because we've got Diego Godin that's going to be leaving. Savic, I believe, is on his way as well. Felipe Luis is going to be going by the looks of things. We've also got Fran is going to be on his way. Pretty much the entire Atletico Madrid defense, as well as Antoine Griezmann, are on their way out of the club. Obviously, Griezmann and Godin are definitely gone, and it looks like Fran and Felipe Luis will follow as well. So that's going to be a massive rebuilding job for Atletico Madrid. Now, the question I want to ask you is, there might be other teams that are like, the other strong teams in Spain. You think of the teams that finished just outside the top 3 places this season, that being Valencia, Getafe, and Sevilla. If you're one of those 3 clubs right now, and you're looking at the massive rebuilding jobs at Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, and certainly a massive rebuilding job at Real Madrid, would one of those 3 clubs fancy themselves to try and break into that top 3, or maybe even challenge for the league? Or am I being just too optimistic here?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think like there's a moment to, break out, right?
Yeah.
It would be this season. With because usually Atletico is top 3, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm interested to see what the other teams in La Liga are gonna do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Valencia certainly trying to get back to their old ways. They've had a few poor seasons. Obviously, that's a very difficult season under Gary Neville, which just didn't work out whatsoever. But they seem to have rebuilt themselves over the past few seasons. Getafe, not long just come back up into the Major League, and were very unlucky not to be in the top 4 to get themselves the Champions League place for next season. And Sevilla, of course, are always a threat, but only 6th place for them. Potentially players like maybe Pablo Sarabia or Ava Banega could even be on their way out for potentially going into next season. But I personally don't think one of those 3 teams will chance for the league. I think they can maybe chance to overcome one of those teams. But I think certainly Barcelona and Real Madrid are going to probably have too much of them, because I think it's pretty obvious with Eden Hazard, Luka Jovic, and Eder Militao at minimum, Real should be securing at least a top 3 finish. It'd be interesting to see if they can fight for the title next season, because La Liga hasn't had a proper title fight in a few years now. I think Barcelona have won like the past 4 leagues, so we need a title fight in La Liga, and hopefully we're going to be able to get one next season as well. But I think I can't really think of anything else to talk about. I think we've pretty much covered everything for this podcast. Is there anything else that you want to mention? Any more football news?
No, I'd say that about covers it. I'm just super excited to see what Madrid can do. So that's going to be super exciting. Oh, well, we could talk about this Champions League. I think this Champions League has been literally a historic Champions League. Just so unbelievably exciting.
Yeah, we can do a quick recap, obviously, on the Champions League. I think, you're exactly right there in terms of a historic Champions League, in terms of the massive shocks that we've seen along the way, the fantastic comebacks. I think it was slightly dinted in the final. It was probably the worst final we've seen in at least a decade.
Final was kind of whack, but
it was awful. I mean, from a Liverpool fan perspective, I was obviously made up because we won the trophy at the end of the day, and it was fantastic for all the people in Liverpool and stuff like that. 750,000 turned out the following day in Liverpool for the trophy parade, which was absolutely fantastic for the football club and obviously for the city as well, unless you're an Everton fan. Yeah, I mean, let's cover some of those fantastic comebacks. I mean, obviously, it really started in the last 16 when Ajax were able to overcome Real Madrid and beat them 4-1 in the Bernabeu. Did you get to catch that game?
I did, and that was a great game.
It was a great game.
Yeah, it was a great game.
You got beat 4-1.
I mean, like I said, I like Madrid, but I'm not tied down to any team. You know, I'm just a football fan at the end of the day. So, I mean, yeah, just that was exciting. We got exposed, of course, but like, I don't know. It's cool to see Ajax how far they went. You know, it's a shame that their team's going to be like dismantled, right? De Jong and whatnot.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was pretty awesome, man, for sure.
Yeah, it certainly was.
So I got no complaints with that at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people were probably pretty happy to see Real Madrid knocked off their perch and so early on as well in the knockout stage. But there was a few other decent comebacks along the way. Juventus came back in the last 16 as well against Atletico Madrid. Was a nice little comeback for them. Obviously, Ronaldo just doing Ronaldo things and being amazing.
Did he get a hat trick?
I think he might have. Yeah, he definitely scored a couple at least, but I think it was a hat trick. So that was
a surprise, man.
I know he seems to do it so often, doesn't he? But it wasn't to be his time though in the semi-final. In the quarterfinals against Ajax, because Ajax went and beat Juventus, which was fantastic for them.
Respect.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously getting into the semi-finals, we have to focus on on Tottenham against Ajax and Liverpool against Barcelona. Both just two incredible comebacks.
Bro.
And, just insane.
Yeah, man. Just absolutely awesome. And I don't even know what to say, man. Those games were literally special, man. And it's awesome for the Prem, two English teams in the final. Yeah, just awesome, man. This Champions League has been insane.
Exactly, and it was the same in the Europa League. We had an all-English final there. It really has been a year of domination for the English teams. It was just a few seasons ago when it was the Spanish teams being always in the final and stuff like that. But now it seems to have switched where all the English teams seem to be getting to the final and having success, which for English football, it is just absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
So
that's exactly what I was saying to my friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It is fantastic, but I think we pretty much covered everything then in that case for this podcast, unless you got anything to add.
Nah, I think that wraps it up, man.
All right, awesome. Okay, so thank you very much then, guys, for joining us on the first podcast. Thank you very much as well to Aidan for coming on. I do really appreciate that, man. And obviously, please check out his YouTube channel, Poncho. It will be in the description as well. I'll link to that and go head over and check out his videos. And also, feel free to subscribe to his channel as well. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think of this podcast. Any constructive feedback, anything like that would be really much appreciated. Obviously, it is going to be kind of based on how the supporters go in this video, whether you want to see more of these. I would look to try and do it maybe every single Saturday or something like that. Try and get a different guest on. I don't have anyone planned for next week because obviously I don't know if I'm going to be even doing it next week, depending on how this one has gone. But yeah, it's been a pleasure though chatting to you, Aidan.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, so thank you guys very much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys later.